All right. So sometimes on my blog called Status Quo Defenders, I will engage with Quora users or Quora questions. And this one was from a Quora user named Ross E Mariano. And basically, it's about his lies about immigrants on welfare and why he'd be wrong even if he was right. So I'm going to read the text from my blog here, and away we go. So let's take another look at more of Rossi Mariano's response to one of my questions or one of my answers on Quora. So he says, why can illegal immigrants work for less? Couldn't you if the government gave you free medical care, education, and subsidies for food and housing? Some states even subsidize their auto insurance. And where does the money come from for all this? Our hard earned tax dollars. Ah. So obviously, that was me doing that for emphasis because it's such a tearjerker of a sentiment. Our hard earned tax dollars. Well, moving along here. So Ross E. Mariano is mostly lying about that if we care about facts, as detailed here by the National Immigration Forum. So, as they say, undocumented immigrants, including DACA holders, DACA, are ineligible to receive most federal public benefits, including means tested benefits such as Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, sometimes referred to as food stamps, also regular Medicaid, Supplemental Security Income, or SSI, and Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, or TANF. Undocumented immigrants are ineligible for healthcare subsidies under the Affordable Care Act, also known as ACA, and are prohibited from purchasing unsubsidized health coverage on ACA exchanges. But obviously, facts do not matter to conservatives, so there's no getting through to most of them on these basic issues. Still, let's even put that aside and see how, even if we think undocumented immigrants are massively cheating the system somehow, Ross's points are still actually asinine in a few key ways. What is his response to this alleged nefarious activity? It is to say, we should deprive them of access to those benefits, rather than saying, hey, why not broaden these benefits more throughout society so more people have access to resources they need in order to survive and thrive? His point is to trash talk the quote unquote illegals, not to promote policy solutions that actually help society. Instead of bashing immigrants, legal or otherwise, the working class should want to unify and unionize with them as there is power in numbers. But right wingers don't want workers doing that. They don't want to like unions, including public sector unions and public sector workers. Still, it's no surprise that public sector unions wield a lot of power. They are effective, and so called private sector unions could really be the same way. In fact, if society made more sense, we would realize this whole public sector slash private sector thing is basically made up anyway. It's an illusion, and the goal would really be to democratize society generally. That is, try to give everyone a relatively equal say to the extent possible, while still allowing a great deal of privacy in people's personal lives. That means specific and general worker and consumer unions, basically of all kinds, to give people a meaningful say in their lives and work. Currently, unions help the public sector and public sector workers because their members generally pay union dues, providing a sense of union security through the accumulated benefits. But it's not just about union dues or money, it's also about clout in a more basic sense. Right wingers don't like that for workers, they don't like clout because workers who have job security are not as rigidly under the control of capitalist fat cats. They don't want workers to have leverage. Some benefits in America, like health care, are usually covered by employer provided insurance or employer sponsored coverage, the most common way Americans get insurance. The corporations have clout because of that. If we are dependent on them and insurance companies for access to health care, they basically have us by the proverbial balls. As vocabulary.com notes about clout, it allows conversations to sound like this: "You'll want to talk to that big guy over there if you want me to let you in. He's got clout." Well, that same phenomenon is exactly what the capitalist big cats, or big wigs and fat cats, want things to look like for themselves. We reward them, depend on them always, and they can pull the rug out from under us and the economy at any point and face no responsibility for their recklessness. That's what clout's all about for them. So maybe you even say unions have a place in our community, but they shouldn't be getting special treatment. And I understand that sentiment. But why can't right wingers say that about these corporations? Well, it's because those big businesses have clout and control so much of the media, which means they influence the culture and are pervasive enough to even cash in on sentiments against them. And on that note, Rage Against the Machine, I'm looking at you right now. Wink, wink. So when you say we all pay taxes to support them regarding this group or that, also remember that we both pay taxes and regular price tags in order to prop up these mega corporations and small businesses. So they deserve an even greater amount of scrutiny than some individual immigrant just trying to keep food on the table. So, all right, that's my thoughts on that, at least for the moment. And yeah, hopefully you agree with me. If not, well, tell me why you're wrong.